closer to a man of equanimity.
I'm going to start recording. Okay, so you were saying this morning you were thinking of equanimity.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know nothing about it.
Uh-huh.
I know nothing but the word. So what is it?
Well, first, I mean, I'm not here to do it right now, but what is the definition of answering that question? Because it's a good question, and a general answer to that is peace. Just what I said earlier, and so if you're at peace with yourself, that's a good measurement of the quality of individual that you are. A man who's a man, and we say man because it's man or woman, is a realized man or a realized woman. It's the same principles. And
you use the word realized man and realized woman. Was that intentional in terms? Okay, so that's.
I used what I do. You're right. Any kind of book that's got any age to it, the Bible, all of the great thinkers back from 2,000 years ago, the Bhagavad Gita from 4,000 years ago, all that literature talks in terms of male. That's just how it was.
Right.
Now, and women weren't at the same level of a man for most of history.
Right.
But they are now. So that's the only reason I say it's I got 5 daughters.
Right.
So I want my sons to be realized men. But
what does realized mean?
Well, I could go look at it in a second.
No. Tell me.
Well, really, is to have the attributes of have that and recognize the attributes of stability, of integrity, of peacefulness, tranquility, and that's you ever heard of the Bhagavad Gita? That's
no
4,000-year-old Indian literature.
So I was thinking Nirvana. Is that?
Huh?
I was thinking Nirvana.
No.
That has
not different.
Okay.
And the Gita, Gita, is a song of God.
Okay.
And there's a segment of that. It's long involved. I couldn't get it right now. Wouldn't be the place to do it. But it's about these families, big in India, that are fighting each other, and literally fighting and killing each other. And it's about a conversation that takes place before this battle starts, and between Krishna was the god. And Arjuna, which is you and me, the guy doing the, and he's thinking about what should I do? How can I do this? And they're talking to each other, and they talk about what's a realized man, and how can you see a man who's realized? Well, and I'm gonna not going to get this perfectly, but it says he is a peace in his heart. It's like the oceans. He says the streams flow into the lakes flow into the rivers flow into the oceans, and never does the ocean overflow. They never. That's not the nature of an ocean. Okay, it does not overflow. A man of realized man is like that. So he whatever comes his way, he adjusts to it. He doesn't let it overflow him, get too excited about things. It's a beautiful poem, and I'm gonna get it today and send it to you tonight to show you just how the point I'm trying. And you're gonna say that makes sense. And maybe you never heard the word equanimity before. Maybe you never heard the word realized before. And you know what that's a signal of? We had a bad education. Somebody. Were you born? What kind of religion?
I'm Jewish.
Jewish. Well, that's probably one of the better ones. But they're not without their fault too.
No, of course.
But I can tell you the Catholics. How many? The Catholics are criticizing the Germans for killing all these Jews. The Catholics killed all of the the Inquisition of the Spanish people. They killed everyone. So it's just that's how it works. But the point I'm making is that once you kind of understand how important it is for one's life to live a life of equanimity, a realized life. And I'm not explaining myself well enough, but if you think about the people in your life who you admire, maybe you'd like to be a little more like them. Maybe you could learn a little bit more about business or law, or and you sort of have a certain admiration for them. Think of what qualities do those people have. Just think about it tonight when you go back, and you're going to come up.
Think about it a lot,
huh?
I said I think about it a lot.
You're going to, and I would think one of your words were going to be cool. That's pretty cool. Look, I put this up. I had to shut the door, so I had to take it off. But see what that says? Just be cool.
So does that mean to be relaxed? Or
yes, yeah. And it doesn't mean being cool.
Yeah, right.
Sunglasses. No, it doesn't mean that at all. But look, even that, we were doing some work in here about 3 years ago, and guys, I bought this because I liked it. It says a good message, and the guy put sheetrock mud on it, and he comes and says, "No, I'm sorry, Mr. Gibbs." So, you should have looked a little. And I thought about, something. If that bothers me, that's exactly which I'm not cool.
Right.
So I'll say leave that on there. That's a good lesson for everybody. Do the best you can do. I didn't do this myself, but I told the guy to come mud the room, and he's got something. What I'm supposed to do? Should run over a jump? So no, you live with it. The best you and not now I gotta live with this thing. No. Use it as something beautiful. Use it as my example. My when I got my first wife, we were it didn't work for a lot of different reasons that are unimportant. It didn't work, and I love children, and both my older kids have no children. Now, I don't want to put this in the book, but you'll get the idea. I think it's important to put part of the fabric in it. And I got a letter I wrote to my kids about this. And because my daughter did not had a very poor relationship with my ex-wife. Okay. And I wrote her a letter, wrote my boy and my girls a letter. And I said, look, I was married to her for 10 years. We had 2 kids. It's a long story. One of them, I got out of the starting gate before the whistle blew, if you know what I mean. But guess what? We did our best, and it didn't work out. And how I feel about it is I feel good about it because I did the right thing. And let me think about it a little further. Okay, if I wouldn't have got married to her, now the truth is, we were not going to. We would have never gotten married otherwise. But I'm a college senior. I got a no job. I got no money, and I got a girl pregnant. What am I going to do, right? And it was one of the worst things, part of my life, because I had nothing. And we walked down to the abortion office, and I had my hand on the door, opening the door, and I said, "This is not me. I'm not gonna do this." And so we didn't do it. And now I got a 57-year-old girl who's beautiful, wonderful girl. I got a 53-year-old boy, big shot, hot gut, great person. And so suppose I didn't get my girlfriend pregnant, who I didn't really love, and I really didn't want to get married. But I went, okay, that's the road I'm on. I'll take the best way I can get down the road, right? And so now it didn't work out, so we got divorced. And then you got a bad relationship with your mom, and who's getting hurt by that? You're getting hurt by that, not her. She don't even know about this. She's doing her own thing somewhere else, and you're getting upset about it. Don't get upset about it. There's nothing to get upset about. Because guess what? Now I'm single. Okay. And then later, I ended up meeting Marion. That was 5-6 years later. Okay. And then we ended up getting married. Mm-hmm. And now I got Lauren, Hillary, Gigi, and Emerson. 4 more kids. Mm-hmm. I love them to pieces. Okay. Mm-hmm. If I wouldn't have married and got divorced by Marion, I wouldn't have these 4 kids. Right. My whole life has completely changed to the better. Not for the worse, for the better. Now, I could have got there, I could have huffed and puffed and screamed about it and got my lawyers out and do this and do that. What would that have done? Mm-hmm. What for the things that, and these are the things that mean something to me, okay? And equity, what do I get out of this conversation? Equity. Equanimity, I say equity. Equanimity. I get peace, right? I'm not notching it. And guess what? I end up at the time, gave her not a lot of money compared to today, mm-hmm. but I didn't have any money back then. I got a business, and we were fighting over how much is the building worth. It was just so distasteful to me, but we got through it. And I'm proud of every bit of what I did. Do I wish we wouldn't have got? I wish you got pregnant. No, I don't wish that. Because number one, you can't change it. Mm-hmm. Number two, I just told you, I got 6 kids mm-hmm. from 2 women I wouldn't have got otherwise, right. And I love them totally, completely. So that's what I mean by. I think that was a realized man did that. Now I was just a kid. I wasn't realized and realized a very deep thing. And it's a guy that sits here. And when he got his piece of art, somebody throws some mud on it. He figures out, how can I make that good? And it's really good because I can tell you, I'm not upset about the mud on my poster. Mm-hmm. It's just part of life.
Mm-hmm. So when
you know what I'm talking about?
I'm getting an idea. So when did you feel like you were that you became realized?
I'm not realized.
Okay, so that was my next question. Yeah,
I'm on the way. Realize to be I mean. You need to look it up, and I'm not explaining it well enough. What I'm going to do, what I want to do, is I'm writing this up because that's just the way I do it. I can't just extemporaneously tell it. I can answer questions pretty good, but I can't just say no. I want to, and I'm going to put what is equanimity, mm-hmm. what is peace of mind. One of the words that I learned is imperturbability. You ever heard of that before?
No.
You have, and let me tell you why. If you say you're perturbed, what does that mean? You know what that means. Yeah. You're upset. Imperturbed, what does that mean? You're not upset. Mm-hmm. So have as a attribute, mm-hmm. a quality of your life. When they say, tell me what Steve's like. Mm-hmm. No, you tell me what Steve's like. And you can sit back and say, well, I can tell you what my vision of myself and people grow into their vision. And I want to be a man, a realized man. I want to act my life I want to be imperturbable. Mm. What does imperturbable mean? Well, think about it. Perturbable, you already know what that means. So it won't take you long to get to imperturbable. I want to be a man of courage. Well, I mean, I want to fight you, mm-hmm. but I want to, the difference between love, the opposite of love, is sometimes lack of courage. It's doing stuff you really shouldn't be doing because you don't have the internal fiber to do something. I was at this part of my problem gets spread out mm-hmm. too many things. But when I write this out, I'm going to have the definitions. I'm going to have it more thought mm-hmm. put into it. I'll be able to say that, and I have a nice little half an hour or an hour discussion on what's the purpose. Why do you want to do this? And what I want to do, I believe in the miracle of my life. Mm-hmm. Right, deep. I believe in it. I'm not trying to prove it to anybody. I'm not trying to say I'm any better than you or anybody else on the mm-hmm. planet. I believe in the miracle of my life. Just like that little baby. When you first saw your little baby, there was no doubt in your mind that was a miracle. Mm-hmm. When you look in the mirror, do you feel the same thing? Probably not, because most of us don't. Okay, they don't. This didn't happen. It didn't happen. I should have been here. I should have been. Shut up. Why don't you just think about the part that's important? And so when you work on that, what are you now? You're a better example for who? The people you love the most. Because guess what? Whether you think it or not, again, I don't know your whole family situation, how many kids you got, and all that, but I will guarantee you, no matter what you say, what you might think, your boys and your girls are looking to you for an example on how to live. And is it good or bad? Well, that's you to say.
So what I'm trying to get a better idea is, do people actually say, okay, I'm realized?
Well,
I mean, do they honestly say it?
People who say, there's some saints and some big thinkers who probably do say that. I don't. Okay, that's one of my aspirations. Okay, and I'm going to digress a second, but this idea of the vision. Who are you? Who are you? And well, I know what your name is. I know where you live. I know what color shirt you wear. That's not you. I know where you work. That's not you. What is you? Okay, deep down, what is you? And people don't even think about that. And when you try to think about who you are and where you want to go, one of the concrete things you can do is have a vision of yourself. Like, do you have a vision of yourself? You don't have to say yes or no. Did you? And I'm going to suggest you got one. Might be a bad one, might be an incomplete one, might be a great one. I don't know, but everybody's got something. I'm not a good driver. Well, that's a pretty shitty thing. That's no value, but that's part of your vision right now. So if you, there was this guy, this story about how important a vision is. Okay, this lady is working for this guy. He worked for him for 3 or 4 years, and she admires him very greatly. That he's a fair guy, a kind guy, an intelligent guy. He acts with a dignity is another strong word. He's a dignified guy, not dignified like I'm better than you, but dignified like I'm a good man. I'm going to reflect that good man, that value, that miracle in my life. I'm going to honor that miracle. Good word. I'm going to honor that miracle by acting like I'm a miracle and act a man of integrity and act so this guy is working for this lady, and the lady's working for the guy, and she's thinking to herself, when you read her words, you almost think she might be a little sweet on this guy, she kind of, maybe it's more than just not that they're doing anything, but she thinks highly of this man. And then their husband got a promotion, had to move to a different city, so she had to leave. She wanted to say, well, I was stay with her husband, and she told the guy, how much you helped me grow. Help people grow, or be an inspiration to people. Those are those words we're looking for right now. Be inspiration, help people grow, help people make the most out of they can do. All that stuff put together. So the lady moves off, and about 2 or 3 years later, she looking in the newspaper, and the man died. The guy she admired so much, and she told her husband, "You know what? I'm going to go to the funeral. I want to go to the funeral because he was such a person in my life that helped me do more." Okay, so she went to the funeral. She didn't know much about the man's family, and but they had it's time to do the eulogy, and the young girl gets up and says, my name is so and so, and this is my daddy, and I loved him. He was a dear man to me, and I want to tell you about him. And so she starts rattling off all these things about her dad. Now, this girl is like in college, 21 years old. Now, when you got a 21-year-old, they don't know what's in your mind. They got a 21-year-old girl philosophy about how you measure the quality of a person. Well, this girl's talking about her dad. And she's saying, my dad was just such an outstanding fellow. He loved me dearly. He was always fair and helpful. He was always positive. He brought people, when he walked into a room, people knew he was there, not because he yelled it. He didn't have to yell it, because his presence was felt. Another word, another one of those words you want. Okay, his presence was felt, and he helped a lot of people grow and become better people. And so she's listened. The lady, her secretary, is saying, it's quite remarkable. This guy died suddenly. This girl was in college. She comes back probably in much grief. And they say, go do the eulogy for my dad. And he said, and I'm listening to you talk, and you're a young girl, and that you recognize these attributes in your dad is amazing. And then you had the ability to sit down and write about it, and write it with such fervor. I just want to tell you, I love you, Dad, and he was a great guy, and he would have been very happy in this eulogy. And I just got to ask you one question. I know you were in college. You had to come back, and now you do that. You got to, how long did it take you to write it? I didn't write it. You didn't write it? What do you mean you didn't write it? Who wrote it? He said, no, I'll tell you what. I sat down at my dad's desk, and I opened up the drawer, get a piece of paper out, and some pencil, pen, whatever it is. And I look at it, and there's my dad's self-vision. And all I did was read it. So his dad wrote out a self-vision, and you become your vision. Now, if your vision is very soggy, it's not written good, it's not written well, it's not been, nobody put any excitement into it, well, that's how you are. You're going to live it. You're going to grow up into that vision. If you're something that's outstanding, you'll grow into that vision. And so, and the point of the story is that Daddy read his vision every morning, and a vision can change. Tonight it'll change. When he adds to it, he subtracts from it, keeps making it better, keep making it better, getting it better. So that's the story illustrates the value, practical. I'm a practical philosopher. Practical. If you don't tell me how this information helps me live a better life, I don't want to hear it. But I'm not interested in if the Yankees won last week. I like the Yankees, but
saw that. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm beginning to see what you're saying. I mean, certainly, everybody has a vision that evolves and changes. And how does, I mean, I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to piece together, vision and realize and equanimity.
They're all the same thing. They're all the same part of the same story.
Okay.
They're all the same story. And it's when you were young and you played baseball, and you were the second baseman, and you had a certain ability. And when you got to be in one grade up, you were better, And then all of a sudden, in terms of baseball, you probably one day decided I can do better things in baseball. Then you changed. You grew up and you learned, and you used but you learned a lot of experiences done baseball and how to become a better man. When you struck out, that wasn't the end of the fucking world. When you hit a home run, won the game, that wasn't the end of the world either. So you start to measure things properly. So what your vision, everybody, you got a vision right now, and you ought to be able to sit down and if you don't have it written down, you don't have a vision.
Oh, really?
I know. Or you got a vision, but it's very poor. Okay. It's not very poor. It's not as good as it could be, because when you get deep inside yourself, you want to get deep inside yourself, and because the worst thing you could do, well, Larry's got a good vision. Let me follow Larry. Fuck Larry. I got a good vision for Larry. Okay. We all got to go get the one for yourself. So the idea about equanimity is a attribute of a realized man.
Okay.
The realized man becomes realized by following his vision, because he had a vision of being realized. What's realized? Equanimity, resiliency, dignity, presence. I'm getting into the words I just couldn't get out before. That's what all that's about, okay? So they're all the same thing. It all revolves around recognizing the miracle of your life and then taking action to honor that miracle. That's it.
And by taking action to honor it, by taking action to honor it, do you think about, okay, so my purpose is to honor my life, or do you just act and in retrospect look back and see whether or not you honored it?
Yes, no. Okay. and so what you do, that's why, okay, when you go home tonight, well, first of all, if you don't have a well thought out, when you're 7 or 17 or 27, well is a different measure, right? When you're 57 and 67, it's a lot better than when you were 27, because you're looking about pussy all the time, right? It's the only thing on your fucking mind. It was all in my mind. So you get better, becoming a better human being. So my purpose of my life is to become the best Larry Gibbs I can be. That's the purpose of my life. Mm-hmm. And they went, let's talk a little more about that. Well, okay, what do you mean by that? Well, I'm recognizing that I am a miracle of life, not an accident. I don't care if I got a finger here, I'm broken here, I got Tourette's. You're talking about details, man. I'm a miracle of fucking life, worthy of being, and I want to be an example. I want my life to be an example for anybody who cares to observe. If you don't care to observe, it's okay with me. I don't care. Not that I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I give you the honor of making your own decisions. And if that decision is, Larry, you're a big fucking asshole, okay, fine. That's fine.
So, one of the things that you haven't really mentioned is religion. I mean, we talked about it, but some people will say they're realized because they found God, and you're not saying that at all. Well, you're saying that you found God within yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. I think I am God. Mm-hmm. Now, not. No, I understand. Stupid. No. I think. Here's what I think. My mother was a staunch Catholic, and my mother said, if the Pope said, stand on your head every Thursday at 9:30 for 13 minutes, she's on her head for 13. No thoughts about it at all. That's what the Pope says. I could tell you a lot of reasons that I got a problem with the Catholic Church. I mean, I got a little girl named Gigi Bruna Gibbs. Bruna was named after Giordano Bruno. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
We talked about this?
Yeah, well, I read your book. Okay. I read parts of your book, and certainly that part.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because they put the Catholic Church, including the Jesuits, who they took Giordano Bruno and burned him at the stake. Why? Because he believed that the earth was the center of the universe, was not the center of the universe. He think that the truth was, everybody, you got to be crazy. The sun goes around the earth. All the planets go around the earth. They apparently do. But you know damn well today they don't, okay? We're one little ball of shit floating around in an immense thing. We're no more special than anybody, okay? So what? This is the only place we can live. You be the best you can do with this place, right? And make it good. It all depends on how you think about it. So I have a friend. That it was one of the worst funerals I ever gone to for his son. son was a kid went to Jesuit, and he when you go to college, what do? You're looking for women and you're looking for drinking, right? Well, what are you studying? Studying. That's the next year. We'll get to that. No, well, that's just how it is, right? I don't make him bad, just make him a boy. And anyway, make a long story short, ran into a fucking bridge on Palmetto Street, died. And because his dad was very, 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 very wealthy, and he bought him a overpowered car. So don't go fucking buy your car, kids, overpowered car. I'm a 6-cylinder and make it shiny, okay, but not mechanically not working too well except for brakes. So that's just me talking, okay? So Bobby, I was telling Bobby one day, and I thought about this. I'm all over the map, I know. Thought about this when my dad was down. And my dad, I love my dad. He was a great, great, great man. Wasn't a success. Or he had no money. But anyway, we didn't starve to get.
Well, you had 5 kids, though, right?
Yeah, 5 boys. And so you did read some of that shit, huh? So when my dad was dying, I said to myself, I said, I wish God would just take him. And I'm not a prayer guy, but to the extent of it's time to go. He's nothing to do but get bad feelings, pain. I said, it'd be better if he died. And then I realized, wait, who the fuck am I? Well, where do I get off with telling God when he ought to take somebody? That's not my business, right? Over my head. And I developed. I've told you about the little magic button I invented. I had a magic button. Okay? It's a magic button, totally real. And if you push this button, like in times of trouble, let's just take the worst trouble you could have. I hope you didn't lose any children, but if you lost a child, that would be at the top of your fucking list, I would suspect, right? I haven't lost one either, but it would be at the top of my list if I did. So Bobby, every time I go back to Bobby lost his child. Very, 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 very young. And anyway, stupid conditions because shouldn't have been drinking, should have been driving drunk, should have been chasing. Okay, no. But that's not what happened. So I said, Bob, you got a little button, and it works. And if you push this button, just like that, instantly, you know how bad you feel right now with you're losing a child that was 22 years old, 23 years old, great future ahead of him. He's never going to have a child. You're not going to have a grandchild. What are you talking about? You've done so much for the world. Okay, he's gone. So you got several choices, or infinite number of choices. And you can every day, the rest of your life, you can get up thinking how bad, you get a bad case or bad deal, all this other shit. But I got this button. If you push this fucking button, instantly, boom, all this disappears. And you're not upset. You're not morbid. You're not anything. It's just upset. Yeah? And go ahead and push it. And Bobby goes, oh, stop it. Got one more thing I forgot to mention to you. This does work. Absolutely does work. But when you push it, all the nasty, the anger, the sadness, the crying, the moaning, the groaning, all that disappears. But so does all of your memories of that boy. All of them. Now go ahead and push it. You know why this thing works? Why this is a value?
I have no idea.
You would never push it. You would never in a million years would you ever push it. That's why it's so powerful. So here, push it. You ain't gonna push it. I mean, that's stupid. So that, but it does it. What it does is put things in perspective. Okay, and what it gives you, equanimity, peace. It's a way to give you peace. Now, you could also say there, God, if you hated me, God, I didn't deserve it. Okay, go ahead. your life. You want to fuck it up, or you want to figure out how the value of pushing his butt, because everything happens to you is good.
But you don't want to push the button, right?
You'll never push this button.
Yeah.
But the purpose of the button is the recognition you would never push it.
Mm-hmm.
Which means what? It puts the fear, the anger, the sadness, puts it in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You keeping it because that's the best thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
What? My kid's got. I didn't say that. Nobody would wish your kid was dead, but he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how can you live a better life and be a better example for the kids you do have? Mm-hmm. And what this guy did was his kid was a soccer player, and they got a place called the Savoy Center of Volleyball Soccer on Marquini Drive, for City Park, for any mm-hmm. kids in the city who wants to go play. That's a good thing to do, mm-hmm. you know. Now instead of grieving all the time, all I'm saying is taking control of his life, mm-hmm. and equanimity, imperturbability, competency. Mm-hmm. You want to be, if you're going to be a lawyer, a engineer, a contractor, then be the best fucking guy you could be. Not just don't walk through the fucking motions. No, we don't do that. We want to learn how to provide a service to your clients. So work every day. Don't just read your fucking books and this is that. Fuck that. It's how do you put it together? How do you to solve the problems before they happen? And guess what? When you do that, you know what you get? Fucking money. Mm-hmm. People pay you for that because that's a desired. So it's all tied together. And you recognize your miracle of life. Be the best contractor you can be. Fundamentally, the first thing you need to do fundamentally is be the best person you can be. Be the best person. Why is that? Because that's what comes first. Before you can be a contractor, a lawyer, mm-hmm. a doctor, an Indian chief, or a cook, you got to be a good person. Mm-hmm. Get that out of your way, and on your way to now you're moving in the right direction. And all this is wonder why you do that, because that gives you the most equanimity. What does that? Competency. So how do you get competency? Well, you don't do what everybody else does. They come and watch the football games every day and don't ever read how to be a skilled person. It's not something that you get out of a fucking book only. Yeah, it's in the book too. But you do all that stuff. And you follow me? Mm-hmm. So all this is tied together in the same conversation. And that's why this is a good meeting. I hope that thing is recording, because it'd be interesting to see what you can make out of that. Mm-hmm. But it's anyway.
So actually, I mean, one of the things we haven't talked about, and maybe that'll be the next time, are values. I mean, because what I think you said, I should say, is that you want to be the very best person you can be.
Yeah.
But what I believe makes me the best person that I want to be, to others, they don't value the same things I do.
Who are you trying to please, you or them?
No, but I understand. What I'm saying, though, is that okay, so let me think about what you just said. No, I mean, it's objectively, if you say, hey, I want to be the best person I want to be, well, what if the best person to somebody else is not at all what you would want to be?
How'd they get into this conversation? I forgot that. How did that other person get into this conversation? What's he doing in the conversation? What do you care what I think about you?
But it's a question of community values.
Well, because my values are, I'll never be able to find this, but my values are, first of all, awareness. Mm-hmm. Ever heard the word before? Mm-hmm. Awareness. Don't walk around a fucking daze. What kind of person am I? You should know that. Every fucking night, you understand what's your motive, how did you do that? And most people don't. They're a complete asshole, and everybody knows it but them. They never sat down and thought about it. You know? So, you're not trying to be the best friend you can be, because if you're the best person you can be, you're going to be loving, kind, inspirational. You got any friends that are loving, kind, inspirational? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any friends who aren't? Not many. And those we'll get rid of. So those attributes that make you the best person make you the best friend, the best client, the best everything, and peace. All this, they're not separated. They're not separated. Is it going to make you rich? I don't know. You got to tell me what profession makes you happy, because I'm an engineer. That's not a job for everybody. Being a contractor, you wouldn't believe the shit I got to deal through sometimes. But so I'm made to be a contractor. That's part of my person, is being a contractor. Not now, because I'm too fucking old. But my whole life I was okay. Instead of being a square peg in a square hole, I was a hole like this, and this is how my shape too fit right into the hole, and I definitely fit good. I was lucky. Yeah, well, you were lucky, man. Oh, you damn! I'm not going to argue about that. You're lucky. So, to me, religion. We talked. We touched on that. That's a little bit of a. I think there's some value in religion. I look at it. There's not a lot for me, but guess what? I was raised. Nuns taught me in grammar school. The brothers of the Sacred Heart taught me at Brother Martin of Coriezu. They did. My mom and dad. I give you the example, okay? Which the very thing that I taught I did my kids, okay? But my dad, when I was in the 8th grade, he says, "Larry, you're going to go to Coriezu next year." Yeah. Okay, well, you know the story. But go ahead. Go ahead. And I said, "Coriezu? What is that?" He said, "High school." No, I'm 8th grade. I haven't thought about high school. Well, I mean, I'm sorry if that's bad, but I just never thought about it. I mean, you going to school? I guess so. Where you going? I don't know. Who cares? Where my dad tells me to go. So you're going to go to Coriezu. He says, "Larry, you're going to like Coriezu." I didn't even know what the fuck it was. And he says, "Why would I like it?" Because I know how you are. You don't like rules and regulations, and you get a little smart sometimes. And I've seen you at Hampton Hall of Mary when I went to grammar school. I know how you are. I said, "You're good, Larry." And he said, "But and you're going to like Coriezu because there's only 2 rules at Coriezu." So what's the 2 rules? The brothers are always right. And brothers, what do you mean by that? Well, it's very simple. Brothers are always right. What else you need to know? There's nothing. Well, what's the second rule? Whenever the brothers are wrong, go back and check rule 1. So we ain't fighting about what the brothers do. We're going to, as soon as we can run a school better than the Brothers of the Sacred Heart, we'll start one. But in the meantime, we just go ahead. They got one over there already. We're going to go to that one. And so, and let me tell you what, if you don't think that saves a lot of trouble. Because when you're a 13-year-old boy, are you ever wrong? Not often. And the teacher's wrong, huh? Nobody likes me. Who cares? I don't like you either. That's got nothing to do with anything. Go do your thing. And it just saved a lot of wasting time figuring out who's right and who's wrong, because I knew who was right before we got started. And I could tell you stories on top of stories on top of stories that turned out to be this expeditious way to handle these things. And when I was at Brother...
Well, that's what it is. It's expeditious. I'm sorry. I mean, because it cuts
the bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're not getting involved in whether, let me tell you why we're not getting involved. When I was at St. Martin's, and we were well known and did good at St. Martin's, and they did good by us. and they got 2 buildings over there with my name on it. Okay, and a great school, and I love it, and it does a good job for us. And Hillary, you probably know Hillary. Hillary's now 37. Hillary tells me, Dad, you got a lot of pull over there. I said, over where? He said, at St. Martin's. Hey, pull at St. Martin's? You're talking like a pull. Hey, I see you. People are always talking to you. And, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I got no pull at all. He said, well, I want you to help me. What can I help you? He says, we have so-and-so for a teacher, and it's first of the class. I know this lady, and she don't like me, and I want you to get me out of this class and get me in another class. I said, what? He said, I ain't even gonna think of it. As a matter of fact, if she doesn't like it, I'm gonna pay extra to have you in that class, because I'm not gonna miss this chance. This will be a good chance to hang in there, because I not one time did I go back and tell a teacher anything. It's either your boy's lazy, he's not studying. I'll kick his ass. Okay, now we ain't gonna fight about it. We already know what to fight about. The fight that you're lazy, and so do something about it, right? And so anyway, that's just how I grew up. That's the way I think about things. And like, if you tell me, I don't know, I'm not Jewish. I have respect for the Jews. I remember when I was in my 20s, 30s, and I had Arthur Pulitzer, the Wembley Tie Company. The cook still is a good friend of mine. And I asked him one day, everybody, I hate the Jews. I hate the Jews. For what? What do you hate the Jew? How do you hate a person because they're black, or because they're Catholic? Or it doesn't make sense to me. I can't figure that out. Now, if you tell me about you did this, okay, well, that maybe not. But I don't get personally involved because that's not the way I do it. And it just didn't make sense to me. So that's the way I still run my life. I'm not saying I'm going to, I got a lot of friends that are Jews. I got a lot of friends who aren't Jews. I got a lot of friends who are Jews who don't practice Judaism. I got friends that somebody else, Arabs. So I don't get involved in any of that shit. It just, I honor myself by not delving into that bullshit. That's what I do.
Gotcha.
Has your thing been working?